Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MMA Dungeon. My co-host today is the man who is tasked with opening up the very anticipated Netflix MVP MMA card, the first ever MMA event taking place live on Netflix. Brandon Jenkins, thank you very much for taking the time, brother.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, how are you? How's camp? How's life? I think it's been a little. You're really active, but it's been a minute since you've competed. You've been doing a lot of coaching. Catch us up on kind of what it's been like recently.
Yeah, December was my last fight. Just for karate combat. It didn't really go as I planned, but there was we ended up fighting at like 2 a.m. in the morning. It was crazy. But yeah, things. I was sleeping out there. Ended up getting caught, and yeah, I was like, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take like a this is a long break, and I'm gonna kind of start transitioning into coaching because I've had like 47 pro fights, and I fought on like every show. And I told my manager, I was like, hey, if something cool comes across my desk and we just can't say no to it, I'll do it. Just give me like 8 weeks. I'll get in shape and I'll do it. And because I still love doing it. But literally as soon as I said that, uh, like literally 3 days later, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, do you want to fight Dillon Danis in Qatar?" I was like, "Of course." And I started training for Dillon Danis, and it was supposed to be up like at 175 pounds, and yeah, so I just kept like eating and keeping myself larger than usual, and just training with the Tackett brothers. The Tackett brothers are the UFC BJJ
Mm-hmm.
champions,
Mm-hmm.
so it was like a straight grappling camp, and then the conflict in the Middle East started, and they started blowing up Qatar. So they're like, "Hey, we're gonna push this thing back." And then Netflix called and they were like, "Hey, is he available?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that one too." So it all kind of came together kind of fast. But yeah, I was just had one foot in coaching and just slowly getting my weight down, staying in shape, and then yeah, all this came together kind of fast. But yeah, I couldn't have it any other way. Like this is cool. It's like the game won't let me leave. I'm trying to leave, and it's like keeps pulling me back in. I'm like, cool. All right,
Well,
let's do
dude, you're
it.
blowing my mind right now. You first off, you hit like five of the questions I was just about to ask you in that one
Yeah,
answer. But you said that there was a fight that was offered to you with Dylan Danis?
yeah.
What is has this seen the light of day? Was this public? I don't even remember hearing about this.
Uh, no, it was. I guess you're the first. Uh, yeah, first probably to know about it. But
Well, under what banner? Sorry to cut you off. What
it was
banner was
for
this?
it was for Misfits.
Okay, so it's the fight that he ended up doing just with someone else?
Did he fight somebody else recently?
I thought, well, I don't know if it was recent. I'd have to check the dates, but I thought he had like one weird MMA fight that, it was controversial as you'd imagine with him. But he had some weird MMA fight where it was like in a ring, and it was like super quick, and I think he just submitted the guy, and then they
Oh
gave him like
yeah,
a belt
no,
or something.
no. He fought a boxer in like late last year. The kid had like two boxing matches, and
Okay,
like
so
yeah,
this would
he
have been his
ended
second.
up shooting. He ended up shooting on
Yes,
Dennis and
yes,
getting
yes.
guillotined really fast. I was like, cool, but no, it was we are supposed to fight last week, maybe
Wow.
two weeks ago or something like that. But yeah, like the whole Israel stuff like
Right.
that went over there, and yeah. So then they're like, hey, we don't know when this is going to happen. But it's going to happen. I was like, cool. And this conversation kept happening for like a month. And then they're like, yeah, we still don't have the date yet, but it's supposed to happen. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just stay in shape. And then they're like, hey, you want to fight Chris Avila at a 10 pounds lower? I was like, cool. I'll just start losing weight for that too. And so, yeah, I wish I would have had like 2 or 3 more weeks to get ready for this one, just because like the weight and stuff. But I'm in a good spot for weight. But yeah, I was supposed to fight Danis at 175, and now I'm fighting at 165, and I was like
Wow.
194 when they asked
Yeah,
me. So
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But yeah, it was a straight
Interesting.
jiu-jitsu camp, and then now it's like now I'm fighting a boxer.
Right.
So it's just It's crazy. I've had 2 camps. One was like a full jiu-jitsu camp, and this one's like a striking camp. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
I mean, I don't want to be stuck on that too long, but it's interesting. I never heard about it. I'd imagine that it probably sucked when it fell out. Do we know why it didn't happen? You said the conflict, just the conflict. It wasn't like because he's notorious for kind of not making fights happen.
yeah. Because they were going to move it to the UK,
Okay.
and but then there was like tons of huge boxing shows happening at the same time, and I don't think they wanted to stack them that close together.
Okay. Okay.
But
That makes sense.
Misfits is doing some really cool stuff uh, towards the end of the year with MMA. So I think if you would be on the lookout for that, they're gonna
Okay.
I think they're gonna tweak the rule sets too, where it's where they change the rule set to kind of avoid these long body triangle transit. We watched MMA
Mhm, mhm.
recently, and it's like there's been a lot of you know
These
whole
stagnant
rounds.
positions a little bit.
Whole rounds spent in body triangles. I think they're going to try to do away with that and just keep it more entertainment based.
Very nice. Okay. Well, you talked about it a little bit. You have one of the most spread out topologies or run sheets that I've ever seen. Like I look at the different promotions you fight for, it's not very often that, and they're all giant name like PFL, UFC, Game Bread, Bare Knuckle MMA, Karate Combat. Is there one that like stood out to you? I want to talk about Netflix in just a minute. We're going to talk about your fight, I promise. But is there one of these promotions where you were like, man, that was a good time. If they hit me back up, I'm fighting on there again. I'd have to imagine there was one or two that really stood out.
Yeah, probably Game Bread. I just I like the visceralness of it, and as a guy, it's always had kind of smaller hands and like a weird frame. With the gloves, always mess me up, and just for grappling and stuff.
Hmm.
So no matter what size glove I wear, small, medium, large, women's. I've worn women's gloves before, and the gloves always mess me up when it comes to grappling. And with bare knuckle MMA, like I could grapple, I could use my hands. My gloves didn't suck my hands up, and
Mhm.
um, I really liked it a lot. And you couldn't really brawl in it as much as you want because you risk breaking your knuckles and your hands and stuff, which I did break my hand. And but no, they really took care of you. I think it's under a different ownership now. Um, Dean Toole was running it, and they really treated us like we were superstars. They really took care of us. They gave us bonuses. I think Masvidal and them kind of split
Yeah.
paths, but I haven't fought for the new version of it.
Mhm.
They just had an event in like Costa Rica or something like that, or
Yeah, I thought it was DR, but somewhere outside the U.S.
yeah. But no, Dean Toole, who runs like Island Fights and like
Mhm.
Icon FC, and he helps with like the Misfits fights.
Mhm.
He's an awesome guy, and he really runs a tight ship. But no, Game Bread, Bare Knuckle MMA was probably like my all-time favorite rule set. Karate Combat's a lot of fun because it's just MMA without submissions, it's just ground and pound.
Yeah.
But yeah, that you've seen that company go like this,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think.
a lot of these one-offs kind of do
But
that. But
they took care of me. They paid me good, and like hopefully they get their stuff together too. And they because when I hopped on it, it was like, dude, they were going like this, and
they're on a
then
rocket.
here, and then now I think they're kind of coming back up. But no, that's a good group of guys, and yeah, I can't wait to see what they do this year. Hopefully they can right the ship.
Nice, nice. Well, it sounds like, I mean, just being a fan of yours, it doesn't seem like you say no to very much. So I'd imagine that there's a lot of fun stuff, just like this Netflix, opportunity, coming for you. So let's talk about that. Actually, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about the Netflix card real quick. You are the opening fight against Chris Avila. Um, there's so many things that I have to get your take on. First of all, your reaction. You said they hit you up. You were like, yeah, that's cool. I can't say no. Did you have any idea? I mean, you had to have heard maybe rumblings or rumors. Did you know that Netflix and MVP were working on an MMA card? Or, I know you were like a later addition, but maybe you were in talks and maybe just working through the deal.
Um. So Gina's been getting in shape at our gym for like a year,
Oh, yes, of
and
course. Okay.
yeah, we thought that it was gonna be the UFC that this whole thing was gonna happen, but I guess financially didn't make sense, and now then Kenny Cross got on the card, who's also my teammate,
Mhm.
and he's the number one unsigned prospect in the whole game. So
Mhm.
at 155, so big name guy, and he's fighting the number one uh, unsigned lightweight in Europe, so huge fight on the card. And then you have me and Chris were openers. That's a banger right there. It's a bloodbath. So
Mhm.
they knew what they were doing when they made this card.
So it sounds like you kind of had an idea. A lot of the fighters I think on here were either same gym, talking in the same circles. So you had an idea, obviously, because Gina was training at your gym.
Yeah, yeah. We really thought it was going to be UFC, but I guess they didn't. I don't know. Rumblings I heard is they wanted to pay one party, but not as much as the other party.
Right.
And
I'd imagine that's probably how it went.
yeah,
So let me ask you this. You're clearly not you don't have the shortest resume of the folks on this card, and you have a following, you're a reputable name. They could have really put you anywhere on this card. I think it was very intentional in the best way possible. It was like a kudos, I think, to you and Chris that they made you guys the opening fight. At any point did I guess when a fight is offered, they don't tell you where you're going to be, but at some point you learn that you guys are opening up the card. Was your reaction like, yeah, that makes sense, I should be there?
um, yeah. I mean, I haven't opened up a card since like the PFL where I had the Sports Center knockout.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, it makes sense," and I
Right.
knew what kind of fighter they were looking for, and that's why they called me. But if like me and Chris have like a hardcore following, not would say casual following, but like people within the industry know who we are,
I gotta disagree. I gotta
and,
disagree with you.
and like what we're about though. Like we're like okay, we're like I grew up watching this in like 2006.
Mhm.
Like I was like the golden era. So that's the way I fight the way I do. All right, like I'm killer to be healed out there. So
Well, I want to give you your flowers here. My wife is an optometrist, and I had went to get my eyes checked. She's always nagging me I don't go off enough. I was there, and somebody who knows that I do this sometimes asked me, any cool names coming up, and I was like, yeah, Brandon Jenkins. I'm gonna interview him. He's on the Netflix MVP, MMA card, and he's kind of a casual watch. He doesn't really claim to be
yeah,
like a hard. He knew exactly. He was like, that's gonna be incredible. I when I saw that he was the opening fight, I knew what they were doing. And I was like, listen, this is awesome. Like somebody who I don't think he watches like every card of every promotion. So I
yeah,
think you definitely can. You've been out there enough that the casual followers, and I'd imagine Chris too, with all the boxing and the names that he's had on his resume. Um, like we've said, they knew what they were doing. Put you guys on there. Let's
yeah.
talk real quick. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, it's funny because like I don't consider myself famous or anything like that, but like I could stop like 4 times a year, just like four. Like I'll be at the strip or something, or like I was at Smith's a couple
Mhm.
months ago, and or it was last year, and someone's like, "Nice fight this weekend." It was like a random, like almost like a Walmart. I was like, "That's weird," but like I don't get it like some people do, but that's uh, one reason. Like for Game Bread, when I fought Game Bread. I don't think like casual people go watch bare knuckle MMA. I think it's like the blood and guts, like the hardcore fans really watch bare knuckle MMA, because like I fought there, we had a crazy fight, and then like wherever I went for like the next hour, like there was just lines of people trying to like line up and get my autograph and stuff, and I was like, this is weird, this is cool, but those are like hardcore fans, and I don't know how many casual fans went to that, but yeah, I mean it's cool. We're me and Chris. We got kind of the style. We got that kill or be killed kind of style. So I think a lot of fans will tune in just for that.
Yeah, for sure. And just to put a bow on this topic, I think because of the growing nature of MMA, specifically in like social media, like highlights are becoming extremely popular, clips, everything is about these moments, right? With our attention span, we went from Vine to TikTok. I think your fights, your finishes, they probably have reached a lot of people through there, even if they're not watching the card, right? Like bare knuckle MMA. I don't know too many people, even in the space in the industry, who sat there and watched it because there were so many other things going on during their most recent event. But the clips are everywhere. I mean, you throw on a clip of people fighting MMA with no gloves on and a nice clickbaity caption, it'll go everywhere. So you know this. Your nickname is the human highlight reel. Chris knows this. He's on these big stages all the time. So I think there's going to be a lot of eyes tuning in from the very first fight, more than the average card has from the first fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's talk real quick about the Netflix stuff. You're one of the few fighters that has the privilege of being on this card in general. What's it been like working with Netflix? Does any of the communication come from like their team? Is anybody hitting you up saying, "Hey, I'm such and such from Netflix. We want to work on this," or does it all just funnel through your manager? Talk to me about that dynamic.
Yeah, my manager, Lance Spouty, was
Mhm.
Iridium. He kind of just handles all of it for me. Um, I've never had trouble getting fights with Lance. And Lance has always took care of me and like kept me busy, kept me in good fights. It all came together really quick, and it's been just like butter, like fight week stuff. Like I already know everything when I'm flying out, when I'm supposed to put up these posters, when I'm supposed to do things. Like it's all been pretty smooth. So it's all been really smooth for people who have never done a show before, not
Right.
never done an MMA show before.
Mhm.
So yeah, I like it.
Well, you say that, but I feel like they're utilizing. I mean, I know Netflix technically hasn't put on an MMA production, and neither has MVP. But it seems like they're utilizing like everything I've heard about, like matchmakers, the people, helping set things up and kind of lay the foundation. It seems like
Yeah.
they're using people that are quite experienced. It's not like they
Oh
found
yeah,
some interns at Netflix.
they're using like LFA
The LFA
matchmaker.
master, right? Yeah. I figured.
And like, yeah, because the first time it came through, it was through an LFA manager. Like, hey,
Hmm.
you were the first guy on my list.
Yeah, I had
I had,
a buddy.
and I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay,
I had a
cool.
buddy hit me up and he was like, "Hey, dude, who the hell is doing the matchmaking? These are all they found all the like gems that are out there that aren't contracted." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, if you look at everybody's resume, for most of them, right? Most of them have been through the LFA cage. So it seems like that's
Yeah,
kind of what's going on."
I've had six. I had six LFA fights. I fought for the
Right.
belt, and
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, I mean, whatever I fought, I've kind of had like I've had like just as many wins as losses, and it's like I've I've never. If you look at through my record, there's like it's not really any bums in it. There's always been. I haven't fought a guy with losing record since
Mhm.
2015. I mean, it's hard for me to say no, you know.
Yeah, I
But
get the
like,
idea.
yeah, and like even when I left the UFC, it was like I'm fighting PFL vets, Bellator vets, one FC vets, or one FC vets, and I'm fighting bare knuckle world champions, undefeated bare knuckle world champions, Waco World Cup champions. The last guy I just fought was like 33-6 in kickboxing. So it's just like, even though I'm not technically in those huge shows, like Karate Combat had like the best strikers in the world. They're
Mhm.
signing all those guys, and then bare knuckle MMA, I'm fighting UFC vets and PFL vets. So I don't know. I haven't like dropped down my level of competition. Like I look around, some guys they leave like the bigger shows, like they just kind of go and they fight locally and they fight
Mhm.
guys with like 4-16 record. Like I don't take any pride in doing that at all. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think I get any better from just smoking some guy. So I expect Chris to be real tough. He's never been put away. Like it should be a barn burner for sure.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I do have some questions about the matchup in particular, but while we're talking about Netflix and kind of running the show, just
Yeah.
some quick ones for you. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. It's just stuff that I, as a nerd, am very curious about. Do we have any idea what the cage structure is going to be like? Have you heard anything?
I think it's a hexagon.
Okay. I'd imagine they'd avoid the octagon, right?
If you so I have some friends flying in from Minnesota, and they send me screenshots of like the Ticketmaster and stuff like that, and it's always like hexagon in the middle. It has
Yeah.
the word hexagon, so I was
Right.
like, okay, it must be hexagon, and then it has like a long slit, so I'm guessing there's gonna be like a stage walkout.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another quick one on the same vein. Gloves. You have any? Have they told you? I know sometimes promotions will give you gloves in advance so you could train in them. You hate gloves, but you got to do it for this fight. You know anything
I,
about them?
I wish every sport was bare knuckle.
Yeah, right. Not a lot of fighters say that. Man, you're funny.
No, I don't know anything about the gloves at all.
Okay. No idea.
Mm-mm.
I saw
I
Mike
keep like
Perry. Hmm?
I keep looking at like pictures of and videos of Mike Perry wearing them, or
Yeah.
like Diaz or Ronda or Gina, and they're like super black, and I was like,
No, they're I
these
think
them.
they're just like from my experience as a glove nerd, somebody who has over 100 gloves from different promotions. I think they're just wearing like generic Timu type of those are photography gloves. I don't
Yeah,
think I'd be shocked if those are the gloves you guys fight in. I don't know if they're gonna have like some big contract, and I just don't know if this is something they're focusing on where it's gonna be like Everlast or Century or whatever. But
yeah.
I'm curious. Hopefully, listen off record. Whenever you find out what those gloves, just let me know kind of what they look like. I promise it'll go nowhere.
Yeah.
Last one on this in this circle, the fighter kits. You have, I think Ghost is one of your sponsors, right?
Yeah.
You have a couple sponsors. So did you guys hear anything about? I think somebody said sponsors might be on the shorts, or maybe for certain fighters. What's that look like? What do the kits look like?
There is no kits, but
Wow.
the restrictions are ungodly. I will send
Really?
you the restrictions after we get off this. You're gonna be like,
Oh,
what the fuck? And
okay.
but it's like it was like 2 pages worth, and it was really hard for I think for a lot of people to get sponsors for this one because it's Netflix.
So
But I
is it
had a
just
couple.
brands? Sorry to cut you off again. Is it brands you can't work with?
It's like no restaurants, no. Like I had a gentleman's club wanting to sponsor me like 10 grand, and then
Wow.
it's like no gentleman's club, no THC, no CBD, no dispensaries, no what is it? I have to send you this list. It's unreal, but it's hard. Like no gambling, no betting websites, no anything.
What's left? What's left in
You'll
the MMA
exactly.
space for
There's like I can
sponsors?
have energy drinks. I can have that. I could have like Ghost is cool. I have another pharmaceutical company. They could be on it too, and then I have like an underwear brand
Mhm.
and a clothing brand. Like I got like 4 or 5 sponsors, but a little chunk of change. But like the things that I could have had would have made me way more money. But
Right,
it's
right.
Netflix, so I get it.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible. I haven't heard too many people talk about this. Even I think Ariel, probably one of the biggest stages that these fighters are talking on. I've heard somebody say that like they can customize their own kits. You could have sponsors, but I didn't know anything about these restrictions. And I'd imagine it's very difficult for fighters to tell some of their sponsors like, "Hey, I would have loved to, but you're on the naughty list for Netflix."
Yeah, so like just change the name a little bit. I'm like, I think they're gonna look into it because it's
Yeah.
Netflix. Like, I think they're gonna go, what is the Sapphires Las Vegas?
Wow.
It's like, oh, it's just my friend's store. It's a strip club. It's a gentleman's club. Just take gentleman
Okay.
club off. I was like, I can't do that.
But looks wise, designed like whatever flames or whatever you could do whatever you want looks wise.
Yeah, I'm wearing real gangsters out. They're out of LA.
Very
So
cool, very cool.
it,
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. This is great news because I think a lot of people are starting to hate the kind of uniformity that
yeah.
UFC is really pioneering. But I'm excited now to see. I know you posted your mouth guard. You have a little play on Netflix and chill. Oh, you have it there handy. I was trying to find the picture. I don't know if I screenshot it. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I love stuff like this where the personality actually comes out. So it sounds like Netflix is doing this really right in terms of forget the restrictions for just a moment. They're letting the fighters really bring their fan base, bring their teams, bring their sponsors with them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's like I think they're expecting like 180 million people to watch. I mean, I don't even think Paramount Plus has that many numbers. So
Yeah, yeah. I've gotten in this debate with some folks before. People are like, I'm not. There's the hardcore like UFC folks. I'm not watching this crap. Yes, you are. We all have
why
Netflix.
wouldn't you watch it?
That's
It's
exactly
free
what I'm
fights,
saying.
right?
Anybody who knows enough to keep up with the news that Netflix is putting on MMA, forget like auntie and uncle and cousin and grandma. Like if you watch this sport, you're gonna play it. You're lying to yourself if you think you're not. But listen, we'll see. I mean, time will tell everything, and there will be a lot of eyes on this card. I'm most interested, and I was gonna ask you about this, but you probably don't have an idea just yet. I'm more interested in if they're planning on doing a long term thing. If maybe any of the fighters were offered a multi-fight. I'd imagine most are one. Most of the contracts were one for this event.
Yeah. I haven't heard any rumblings. I know they're paying everybody really well on the
Right.
card.
Yeah. I mean, it's everybody's
Yeah.
pay is going to be disclosed, so they better, right?
Yeah. They're taking care of everybody, and there's like finish bonuses and stuff like that,
Right.
and like um, what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, they're. I don't know if they're gonna do one like every 6 months or something like that. I've heard rumblings that maybe every 6 months, or maybe every year. But I think this is kind of like they're seeing how it goes. Um,
Mhm.
like it was weird because like when I was talking to promoter for like Misfits and stuff, there's like 3 fighters signed with Misfits, and
Yeah.
everybody else is just removable parts, and
Right.
it's like
Right.
there's
Right.
only
Right.
3, and but they also have a bunch of money and they're just like Netflix and they're throwing around and stuff, but yeah, I hope there's competitors in the UFC because you know I'm not gonna call anybody a monopoly or anything like that, but it's cool to have different things. Like where was the show like 3 years ago? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right, right. Yeah, I mean,
it's like,
the reality is, I think it's very clear. I was going to ask you about this too. It's very clear that there is a narrative here that this is we're gonna show them how it's done, and it might be a lot of Rhonda saying more than maybe the team or the promotion wants her to, but that's become a narrative. There's two major narratives I think that are interesting here, and I'd love your take on both of them. The first is you've already touched on is this is kind of showing the UFC it can be done in a more fair way, a more fighter and in a way fan friendly way, right? We're not going to have none of these weird Apex cards where it's kind of like you're already subbed, you're going to watch it anyway. So they're
yeah,
trying to bring MMA back to the roots of like, fan and fighter get the best end of the stick. Then the other is we're taking on the White House card. That's the other major narrative that I'm reading. And you touched on one. Tell me kind of your thoughts on just that dynamic. So above your fight, just as a whole, the dynamic between the UFC v Netflix MMA and the White House thing too.
the Netflix card is cool. I mean, but it just wasn't. It was kind of like they're like this. Every fight is going to be a banger. It's like not every fight's a banger. There's like four on there. I'm really
You're talking
interested
about the
in.
White House because you said Netflix,
Yeah,
right? You said the White House card,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
The White House card. Yeah,
Right.
there's like four bangers on there that I really want to watch. Like, I don't really want to watch the whole thing. There's just so many. There's so many cards. It's. I don't feel like they're all getting the tender love and care that they used to. Like I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
29.
29. Okay, so like 2006,
But I have
2007.
a habit of
Yeah,
you from talking to me, you could probably tell I
yeah,
have
you're a
gone
fight
back and
nerd for
watched a
sure.
lot more fighting than somebody my age probably has
Yeah,
seen.
when it was like every other month there was a card. It was like these cards were freaking stacked. They knew what they took time, and now it's just kind of like they're filling a slot. Um, but yeah, I think that they're just trying to show like, hey, there's other avenues like fighters can branch out after they're done with this, or they're not only just using huge names that have already been to the UFC or whatever.
Mhm.
They're also got like prospects on the card, like
Yeah,
really good prospects.
yeah,
And hopefully giving them this platform, like Kenny Cross, dude, he was made for TV.
yeah.
And like he was Kenny Cross, like he was on the Ultimate Fighter, supposed to be on the Ultimate Fighter with me. We ended up getting pushed out because Conor McGregor came late, and we had to send like three people home or something like that because he wanted like two guys on the card, and like Kenny is made for TV. So I hope Kenny goes out there and does his thing, and they put a microphone in his face because this guy is hilarious, and
Mhm.
he's got the looks, everything. And then there's a couple other fights on the card too, like what's this guy at the bottom left. I've seen him fight. I think it was Karate Combat. That kid is awesome too. You
Oh,
know,
Fazil?
yeah, he's awesome.
Mhm.
I'm really sad about the Larkin and the Jackson fight because
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like
they replaced it. This might be an old graphic. I think it was replaced.
yeah, they put Jeff Creighton in, and
Mhm.
Jeff Creighton is a monster too. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. See, I think they should have signed him because he was in the gym after the Ultimate Fighter, and
Mhm.
because he was on the same team as John Wood was teaching on. And dude, I'm like, this kid's a monster. He should be in the UFC. Well, now it's like now he's getting paid even more than if he was in the UFC, and he
Mhm.
deserves it too. Um, yeah, and then you have the guy who fought Demetrius Johnson. Like that kid's a monster too. There's just so many good fights on this card,
Yeah.
and they're not even the big name guys.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I think that now that both cards have been revealed, it does seem like one of them was there were two reactions. With the White House card, the reaction was this is what you guys were talking about. It's cool. This is cool. This would be dope as a pay-per-view, but you guys made us think something else was about to happen. And then for the Netflix one, it was kind of the opposite. It was like, okay, Gina and Rousey, that's all right. They're kind of mad at each other, whatever. We don't know if they're friends. Then the card gets revealed, and it's the opposite reaction where it's like, we did not expect this. You guys blew this out of the water. So
Yeah.
it's all about what expectation the promotion set and then what they end up delivering. And then the fights it's another layer. We're going to see how the fights play out. So I'm very excited to see the dynamic. I have no
Well,
skin in the game, so I'm excited for both.
also, we're in this new Paramount era, and it's like, but all these guys on the White House card were all built in the pay-per-view era.
Mhm.
So when they move over to the streaming stuff, it's like, what do their contracts look like now? Like, how does that work? Because
Yeah.
like Taporia was built on pay per view, Islam, Pereira, all these guys are built on pay per view stuff. The same thing with Connor. It's like, how does that work with it? Now they're all just going to price each other out, right?
Hmm.
Like, oh, I want this much money. Oh, I want this much money. And it's like that's why none of these fights, that's how I heard there was like Jones priced himself out. I heard Topuria priced himself out. I've heard so many different versions. I don't really know the truth, but
Yeah.
I probably there was like some freak like Justin Gage. He was like, yeah, whoever, I'll do it whenever,
Right. Right.
And
Right.
other guys like, oh, I want this amount of money. But yeah, dude, like I think Pereira is also one of those guys who's like a whoever, whenever kind of guy. But I mean, it's kind of crazy we're not getting Islam versus Topuria, or we're not getting Topuria or Islam versus Gary. You know, we're not getting Jones versus Pereira, but
Yeah.
they said all these things were going to happen, and it's like,
Hmm.
probably
Hmm.
price themselves out.
Yeah. I think there's just so much politics going on, and again, I'm also not calling anybody a monopoly on record. I cannot afford the legal defense, but with everybody kind of holding their cards so close to the chest, it seems like there's probably a lot of stuff that they would have loved to have, or the fans would have enjoyed, and it's just not possible with the structure that exists in that realm. And that's what I think Ronda Rousey's trying to explain.
I do like I coach a guy in UFC, and I do think that the new Paramount structure is better for fighters though, for sure, and I think
Mm.
it's better for fans. I
Okay.
mean, I do because like the finish bonuses, the 25,000 finish bonus, that's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's like that could be life changing for somebody really coming out of like a small village or out of poverty here in the
For sure.
U.S. Whatever. But like and then the $100,000 bonus, that's insane. That's life
Yeah.
changing
Yeah.
money too.
Yeah.
Like I think that it is better for fighters for sure, and I think things are moving in a better direction and that kind of stuff. But yeah, but for the guys who have already established like that they're superstars that are larger than life, like I think it hurts them though. It hurts the guys at the top.
Right. Right. It might be hard to give them that same type of, I don't want to say multiplier, but proportionally it's hard to increase their structure the same way
Yeah.
maybe you did the entry level guys. Well, that's interesting. The UFC is their own thing. We're going to focus a little bit more on the Netflix stuff. I want to
Yeah.
talk to you about like your matchup in particular. Chris Avila. We've mentioned him a couple times now throughout our conversation. What kind of relationship, if any, do you guys have? I'm sure you're both obviously you were familiar with each other way prior to this. Talk to me just about if you guys talk ever, if you guys have met and ever trained together, and just how you feel about him as an opponent.
Yeah. Never met each other.
Okay.
We were kind of linked to box each other once.
Mm.
Shane Mosley Jr. He was gonna headline a card at the Chelsea Theater at the Cosmopolitan here. They were
Mhm.
building a card around Shane Mosley, and
Mm.
I think Nate Diaz and was going to be on it too. Maybe Pettis back in the day. This is like before they fought, and I think I was going to box him. So I like started boxing and training to fight Chris Avila. Like this is like 3 years ago or something like that for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then
Okay.
the whole thing fell apart. Ended up not happening. But
Right.
yeah, we were kind of linked back in the day. And I was like, okay, then it's moved on, fought karate combat, fought bare knuckle, whatever it was. But yeah, so I kind of like I've known of him for like 2 or 3 years, and I've seen a couple of his boxing matches too, like where he's boxed like UFC champions and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, he's had a lot of big names, but also a lot of them were under the boxing rule set. Do you put any sort of stock? I feel like you wouldn't say no to any rule set. Anybody who watches you knows that. But do you put any stock in that? Maybe you've stayed a little bit closer to that core MMA rule set than he is.
Yeah, I mean, I've done sports that use your feet a little bit
Mm.
more, but like, I mean, you can still get a lot of data from that, and he has lots of reps of using his hands. I've seen how he fights lefties when he fought Vincent Henderson, and you know, what I take from it is he's a right-handed Nate Diaz. So and he switches sometimes, but I'm just expecting like a lot of forward pressure and a lot of volume punching. So yeah, I mean, if he's watched mine, it's just every fight's so different. It's like one I don't have gloves, one I can't go to the ground, one I
Right.
can't go to the ground. It's like cool, and I don't know how much you'll be able to take from it because kind of like game plan around my opponent. But yeah, I've watched like 5 or 6 of his boxing matches, and yeah, I like what I see.
Okay. Does your game plan? It sounds like you do a lot more yourself. Sometimes people say like, "Yeah, my coach watches and then tells me," or my sparring partners who have fought him will talk to me. It sounds like you do a lot of it yourself. Is this just something you've picked up because you do so much coaching yourself?
I mean, I really got into like, well, for this one, I let my coach John Wood watch the videos and kind of like pick up on some stuff. But like I've literally been watching this dude for like 3 years because I thought we were gonna box, and then I just kind of like he was popping up on my algorithm. You know, YouTube.
Mhm.
You look it up like two, 3 times, and now it's just like every time he has a new fight, it
It's
like kind
all
of
over the place.
slides in. So I'll watch it, you know, and it's like,
Right.
oh, okay, cool. He boxed Vincent Henderson. That's cool. And then I was like, oh, Vincent beat him. That's wild. But then he beat Anthony Pettis, who beat Vincent twice or whatever. It's like, but MMA math doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
The MMA,
Boxing
the
versus
boxing math.
yeah, boxing MMA math doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's just it's silly. But no, I've known of him for a while, and you know, I've seen a bunch of his fights, so I'm sure
Okay.
he's seen me win, seen me lose, and he probably likes the matchup too.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, we like the matchup. It sounds like I like when you guys like the matchup too, because then we know it's going to be a good time. Eh, The dynamic of we talked about it just now, the coaching and fighting. Are you coaching all the way through your camp as well, or are you kind of taking a pause?
No, I the last month and a half, I'm just coaching Jordan, and
Hmm.
then helping with his striking. He's fighting Joe Anderson Brito in a
Hmm.
couple, like 3 weeks after me. So I'm just like, I'll help Jordan, and then I'm doing my thing, and then John's coaching me. So that's the only two things I'm juggling right now. Like all private lessons, all anything else has kind of been put to the back burner for this one.
You
Yeah.
say that, but weren't you cornering yesterday? You were cornering yesterday.
Well, yeah, but they asked me on like a week's notice. You know,
Oh, so it doesn't count.
like yeah, yeah. So
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, we're wrapping it up here, and I'm so appreciative of your time, man. I want to talk one last thing. You mentioned it earlier. You fought in women's gloves in the UFC.
yep.
Was there any weird like talk to me just in general about fighting in the women's glove versus the men's glove? Did you have to tell them like, hey guys, can I get a pair of those? Did somebody say like we have to check on that? Like, what was that dynamic like?
No, they. I think I've done this in another video interview also, but like,
I tried to
uh,
find it. I couldn't. I think it was like a clip somewhere, and I couldn't find it. Like, I
it
have no
was
idea what the backstory was. I just knew that
no,
it was a fun fact I knew about.
no. I was like, these are terrible, and I was trying the UFC gloves on. I was like, yeah, like my pinky kept sucking into the glove, and
Mm,
it's just my pinky mostly. I like has a little small pinky, I guess,
okay.
but one of the guys who is the equipment guy, he was like, I can give you women's gloves. Don't feel weird about it. Joseph Benavidez does it too. I was like, oh, Joe B does it, dude. Yeah, I'll do it if he does it. And I think there's probably been a couple since then, like smaller guys that have done it. But me and Benavidez was like the first two people to do women's gloves. But he's 125 pounds, and I'm like fighting at 65 and 70, you know. So it was kind of weird.
Well, you know what? I'm not 155 pounds. I'm above 200 pounds, and for some reason, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighter. I have a heavy bag in the garage, and sometimes I'll go to gyms and drop in classes. I'm not a fighter, but the women's gloves, for some reason, I find them they're like built better. They're built nicer. The wristband being a little thinner allows you to move your wrist. The men's one, I think, is just gigantic. So I'd imagine like even somebody fighting at like flyweight in the smallest men's gloves, again, just being a glove nerd, I think the women's gloves actually are. You were onto something. You and Joby are onto something with that.
I don't know. I guess I just gotta blame my dad for giving me these shitty genetics. It's like I'm like long waisted, short armed, small handed. Like I don't know. I'm just doing the best with what I got, you know.
Listen, it worked out. It worked out. The women's gloves, I think, is a great idea. And now I keep an eye. I always try to see if any other fighters doing it. I want to give you the floor one last time. Talk to me. You know, if there's somebody that you coach, you want to shout out, a sponsor, anybody you want to thank. Any last words that you want to say before we all tune in on May 16th to see you and Chris Avila throw down and set the tone for the Netflix MVP MMA card.
Oh, just want to thank my coaches at Syndicate, my sponsors, Ghost, Real Gangsters. They haven't sent me stuff yet, but I'm gonna be wearing their apparel out to the fights. Sheath underwear. Shady for interviewing me. It's really
Thank you, man.
But yeah, I'm ready to throw down. Ready to bleed for everybody.
Very nice. Very nice. Saturday, May 16th, Chris Avila, Brandon Jenkins, Netflix MVP MMA. I can't wait. You guys can't wait. Thank you, everybody, for watching. God bless. Thanks, Brandon, one more time.
Yep.